your hand up?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, I didn't think
I
I didn't think you were declaring, but you have to check if
no.
the hand's up.
Yeah, I don't know how.
There, I lowered
Okay.
it for you, Barb.
Thank
There you go.
What would I do
No
without
worries.
her?
No worries. All right, well, seeing none, I will move on to item number 3, minutes. Confirmation of the minutes of the August 24th, 2021 Heritage Committee meeting. Any comments on the minutes, edits to make, errors or omissions on those minutes? Seeing none, could I get a motion to adopt those minutes, please? Anybody? Robert, seconded by Ron, I'm gonna say.
Well, I wasn't at that meeting, but.
Oh yeah, you weren't at that meeting. That's a good point. John was though. John seconds. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. There are no delegations today. Item number 5, the unfinished business list, which I'm guessing is over to Jennifer.
All right, so like usual, I'm just going to go over what's new. We have a couple updates. So first one is updates and additions to the municipal register. So everybody would have received emails over the last few months, but we have 3 new additional properties that were added to the register as listed properties on February 14th at 2022. So we'll be going over those a little bit more in the next report. Down to Plaque program. We have installed the plaque at 12675 Front Road, the wall, dry stone wall. It's been installed, so that's the last plaque of the first round. They're all installed now, which is great. And we're also bringing forward 3 new applications for plaques. So that's on the agenda today. Next, the reference manual. I did do some updates to that and I've sent them to the subcommittee. They're just going over that. We're hoping that we'll meet sometime in the summer to go over the new changes to that. And lastly, Parkway Gates. So MTO, this one's been fun. After about a couple of years of chasing staff at MTO around to try and get updates on the letter and whether or not they're going to use the bylaw, all I got out of it is that they're not going to use the bylaw to designate the Parkway Gates, and I don't think they're going to be sending a letter. They kept reassuring me that they would be sending a letter about the designation and that they're not going to use it, and outline all the reasons for why they're not going to. However, we have not received that yet, so I'm not really hopeful for it in the future. So that's my update for that. And that's it for the unfinished business list. I don't know if we wanted to take MTO, the Parkway Gates, off, since that's not moving forward.
The issue with them is they're on provincial property. Is that so? So it comes down to whether the province wants a designation or not.
Yeah.
Okay. The chances of that are nil, I'd say right now.
Yeah.
Current government.
They haven't been very helpful.
Right.
Well, perhaps our new.
Oh,
I put my hand up, but you're going to have to tell me how to get it down again. But I was just wondering, why could we not list the Parkway Gates just on the register? I mean, that wouldn't be designation, but it would give it some recognition of significance in our township.
yeah. Did you want
Could
to?
we just do it? Could we just do it and then let them complain if they saw it on our list of things of what cultural and heritage significance? Is that not all that means? I mean, they intended to take them down, destruction, well, we would have how many days to gripe about it?
They probably wouldn't tell us because they wouldn't recognize our designation.
Well, but it's not a designation. It's just simply having it on the register
As a listing.
as a feature that is significant to us as Loyalist Township. Anyway, it's just an idea. So how do I take my hand down, Jennifer?
It
Oh,
has
it's
been,
down.
Barb.
Oh, it's already down. Okay,
It's already down.
thank you.
So did you want me to take MTO off the unfinished business list or change it?
What's the feeling? What's the will of the committee?
I think it should be listed, frankly, whether or not they want it or not. I mean, that way, at least, I guess our position is being stated.
Listed would be the first step to designation, so you might as well list it and have that as an argument for designation.
Which has no teeth because it's not township property.
I know, but it's something that this is what we want to do. It's out there.
I suppose you could always argue that this is of economic and cultural interest to Loyalist Township, whether the province likes it or not. Probably wouldn't get any traction, but it's at least it's an argument that would make the province think twice.
Are there any staff members that would like to comment on this? Andrea?
Yeah, I'd say if that's the approach you wanted to take, then we'd need a motion to recommend that it be listed on the register. That would have to be approved by council. So we would have to take it to them, and our process is we do send a letter before we bring it to council to the property owner. So we would make them aware beforehand. Majority of council members have in the past taken off, have vocally said that they only support listed properties if the property owner is in favor of it. So just something to keep in mind, but we definitely get a motion to that effect, and then we'd send a letter and then bring to council. Ideally, they'd be supportive of the listing and it could go through smoothly, but yeah, those were just my comments.
I'd say we should do it.
So can I have a motion from somebody then to that effect? Ron, are you happy to move that?
Sure.
So just for clarity, the motion on the table is to list the gates, which will involve a letter being sent, of course, to the property owner, which in this case is the Ministry of Transportation, and a recommendation be sent to council to list the property. Everybody
I think
clear?
especially in light of the Queen's, the current celebrations around the Queen, it seems to make a lot of sense.
Absolutely, and that she came to the gates themselves. Can I get a seconder? Robert? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise a hand. Motion is carried. So I would keep that on the unfinished business list, Jennifer, just as a place marker so that we can know what happens from council as this goes forward.
All right.
Okay, so then back to the item at hand, being the unfinished business list. Are there any other items on the list that anybody wishes to discuss at this point? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion just to receive the unfinished business list report from Jennifer. Moved by Ron, seconded by John. All those in favor, raise a hand. Motion is carried. No reports from council. Report 7.1, 4661 Bath Road, Highway 33, Cultural Heritage Evaluation Report from WSP Canada Incorporated. Which member of staff will be fielding this?
That'll be me.
That'll be you, Jennifer. All right.
I have I noticed in there that in the second paragraph, there was a date and it was wrong. It was said 1870 on the version I got instead of probably 1780 or something.
That mistake was made elsewhere. It was made on page 46 of the report, which is 58 of the package. I didn't see it in the initial one, but
Oh,
yes.
the part I got, it was like second paragraph,
Second,
what I
yeah,
saw.
yeah, it's referring to the American Revolution, so it is
Well,
definitely the wrong
it
century.
was referring to the history of the original owner.
In the
and-
example
and-
you're talking about.
Yeah, and from his 1780 stuff until 1870, well, the guy wasn't around that long.
No.
So there's a problem with that date I on the one I saw, I read anyway.
Yes. Good catch. Okay, Jennifer, if you want to proceed with your presentation.
Sure. So the attached report is just for information. So this one is regarding the one property that was added as a listed property at 460 or 4661 Bath Road. So it's at the corner of County Road 6. It's got the red barns there and has quite a large stretch of land. So that was brought forward during with the other 5 properties with the cultural heritage resource assessment back in August. And 3 of the 5 properties were approved for the register. There were 2 objections that were submitted to the clerk. So those 2 properties were not added. So the 3 that were added was 34 Bayview Drive, 4809 Bath Road, and then the one that we're going to be discussing, 4661 Bath Road. So that is the cultural heritage landscape. So due to its size, its proximity to the study area, township staff asked that more research be done on that particular property. And so now we have the cultural heritage evaluation report on that specific property, and that's what this report is for. So when they gave us the finished report, there were 2 recommendations from WSP staff, and that was that a heritage impact assessment be completed for the property during the next phase of design and development in that area, and that a copy of that report be brought before the Heritage Committee, which is what we are doing right now, just for your information. Were there any other questions that you had about the contents of the report? We do have Chelsea here who can answer some
John?
questions.
Yes,
go ahead.
one of the things I noticed in it, there was a comment about it had no visual impact or something to that effect. And if you're on the water, those red barns stand out really well. So as far as I'm concerned, historically, that would have been a landmark. Maybe not from the land, but when you're on the water, it is a significant landmark. Anyways, that's my comment on the.
Thank you, John. Other comments or questions from staff for staff? Barb?
Well, I can't imagine those buildings not having a visual impact. I mean, unless you're not tuned into barns. So it just, I'm not sure certainly where that comes into the evaluation of those structures, but this whole township, frankly, we should make a survey of our existing barns, because the heart and soul origin of this township was rural, and it's just become a sprawling suburban conglomeration around Amherstview lately. But really, if we're looking at representation of the story of Loyalist Township, we should value these red barns, and we should get busy and get some of the barns on back concessions part of our register. So that's how I feel about barns, very strongly.
This is
Thank you,
for
Barb.
listing. This phase at this point is for listing these properties, right? Not designating them?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been listed. It's on the register.
They've been listed, okay.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments? Okay, the recommendation is to receive the report for information. I'd look for a motion to that effect. Anyone? Robert, thank you. Seconded by
Good.
Ron. Call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. 7.2 designated property plaque program applications.
All right,
Jennifer?
so we received 3 applications, but first I just wanted to reiterate that 5 of the plaques from the first round, they were all installed. So I have them listed here. They're located on the Ham House, David Forbes House, the Holly House, Peter Davy House, and then the dry stone wall, the McGinn and Simpson dry stone wall at 12675 Front Road. So that's done. So on to the next round, I guess, with the 3 new ones. The first is for 433 Main Street. It's in the cultural or the Heritage Conservation District, sorry. The W.A. Johnston House, the Bath United Church on 402 Academy Street, and then the McMullen Dry Stone Wall at 15095 Front Road. So I have a little bit of history that I included in the report for the 3 properties. And there were some recommended locations on the applications. So it was recommended for the W.A. Johnston House at 433 Main Street. They were hoping to have it installed on the left of the front door, the left side there. The Bath United Church, they were saying at the front of the bell tower, so where the double doors are. They didn't specify a side. However, I noticed that on the right side of the doors, they already have some stuff there. So I was thinking the left side of that as well. And then for the dry stone wall, they didn't specify a side, but there is a front gate that they would like the plaque to be installed around. So essentially in the middle of the wall at the front is what they were hoping.
I'm assuming that's after it's been is that one? That's not the one being rebuilt. Sorry, mistake. Never mind.
No, you're correct. They have a heritage permit submitted. It's in the next report. So it is being rebuilt for that one.
Okay,
It
so
would
after it's rebuilt.
Yeah, so it would be installed. I believe the work is being done sometime in September. I don't know whether the plaques would even be produced at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments?
Were you good with the designs that I included? Were there any questions about that?
No?
And we're good with the placement that was proposed on the applications? Yep.
Mhm.
All right, so the next step,
Bart.
yeah,
Okay, good.
thumbs
Yeah,
up.
go ahead, Jennifer. It was a
Sorry.
thumbs up, not a hands up.
Yeah. So the next step in that is I will send the permission forms to the owners, the applicants, and that kind of gives them an outline of the process. And I'll also send a copy of their plaque so they'll see the design. If all the applicants send back the form and that they're okay with the design on the plaque, and they don't have any questions or anything, they're good with it. Did you want me to go ahead and get an estimate for those 3 plaques from Gorway? Yeah,
I would say so.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Could I get a motion to the effect of receiving the report and adopting recommendations 1 through 4?
Sure.
Moved by Ron, seconded by Robert. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. Thank you. 7.3 Heritage Permit Application 341 Main Street, Bath, Fairfield-Gutzeit House.
All right, so this one's a heritage permit application requesting permission to remove, there is a large tree stump and 2 pillar bases on the east side of the property. I guess the tree that was there was badly damaged in 2019 from a storm. At the time, the Fairfield-Gutzeit Society, they had cut the tree down, but there's about 4 feet worth of stump left that staff would like to remove, as well as in 2017, I believe, there used to be 2 stone pillars where the bases currently are, but the Society had removed the stone pillars but left the bases, and the pillars are no longer there. The stones are no longer there as well. And the bases are leaving a bit of a tripping hazard for anyone coming through the east side. So the staff are hoping that they can dig up both the stump and the 2 pillar bases to remove those, and the holes will be filled back in. The Ontario Heritage Trust already gave their permission, their approval. They prefer the stump be ground down. However, if it's going to be dug up, they want staff to ensure that any displaced materials will remain on site and not to remove any of the material that may have archaeological potential. And if there's any material of archaeological potential that's uncovered, to document the material and contact the trust. And lastly, they want staff to take pictures of the complete projects and send them those pictures so they'll have them on file for the property. So those are the 3 conditions that the trust outlined, but they did give the approval for the project.
Okay, Ron. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Ron.
No problem with the stump. However, the posts are still there. They're on the other side of the lot. They were disassembled and they're stacked up on the west side of the grounds. So they're there in entirety. They just need to be rebuilt. The 2 stone posts.
If I may speak
Go
to
ahead,
that, Ron.
Lindsay. Yep.
Yes, Ron, you're correct. I was speaking with a member of the previous society, and the stones are there. They've been searching, trying to help us find the documentation for when they were removed. At the time, from my understanding, they documented it as they took the bricks down, but we haven't been able to track down that documentation in order to rebuild them as they were. So the idea was to remove the bases at this time, just to help with some beautification to the grounds, and also in terms of accessibility and tripping hazards that they cause. There was concerns with vehicles, the tires hitting in the snowplow maintenance and that moving forward into the winter season. So the idea would be to remove them, and then if we're fortunate enough to come across the documents for how they were rebuilt, and we can look at grant funding or different funding opportunities to have the pillars rebuilt, then that's something we can definitely look at down the road.
It's probably not too complicated to rebuild them. They're fairly large blocks. If you remove the bases though, then it's, you're starting from 0 as opposed to right now.
What shape are the bases in right now? Because I remember seeing the pillars up there, and there seemed to be a lean to them. So that would indicate that the bases are also out of alignment.
Fair enough. Yeah. So they'll probably have to be dug up anyway to put a proper foundation under them.
Yeah. We did include photos with the information that we sent to the Heritage Trust, and the bases are cracked. And I mean, I'm not a professional mason by any means, but they don't look to be in the best shape. Obviously, they are quite old. And to your point, John, I'm sure that they're probably not level anymore and structured properly if we were to rebuild in the future.
So there are pictures also in the report. There are close-ups of them as well, so you can see the state of them.
I would suggest that if they do dig them up, they keep them together, like the whatever is in the ground around the base, because presumably it goes a little deeper than what you can see. And that should stay with the rest of the posts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barb, you had your hand up momentarily.
Yes, I did. I was getting a little confused. Are the posts disassembled entirely and are, exist as a pile of stones, or are they still partially intact?
They're a pile of stones, but they're quite large stones.
Okay. That answers my question. If they had been taken apart and still in chunks big enough to easily jigsaw puzzle style set them back together, then I would say it would be crazy to completely dispense with them. But
I do think if they
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You finished with.
No, you were going to say something more about the stones?
I was just going to say, if they dig them up, they really should map where they are exactly.
Exactly.
Other comments, questions?
I was just wondering, what is the date on these posts? Like when were they built?
My guess would be when they put the veneer on the building, which would be around 1900.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anyone's looked closely at it. The exterior there with the wooden ashlar construction is actually on strapping, and it looks like the original siding is underneath that. Because there's a hole in the wall and you can see into it.
Were there any more
Further
comments?
comments?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we do have a recommendation. So the recommendation was to receive the report and that the heritage permit application for 341 Main Street in Bath be recommended to council for approval, subject to the conditions required by the Ontario Heritage Trust. Can I have someone move that?
I would think you might want to add what Ron was commenting about the bases and documenting those as to location and size and everything, and taking them out in one chunk rather than bashing them up, so that you have an idea of what to replace it with. So I think that should be in it also.
So I
All
can
right,
add
can
that
I
as a, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I'll get you to move that then, John, but I'll make sure that staff are clear on what's being proposed there in terms of wording for the sake of the minutes.
Well, my one comment is, Ron, do you agree with what I sort of said?
In fact, if I recall, before they were taken down, they were leaning. So that's a good point. So they probably need to be completely reconstructed anyway. Often they may not have a proper foundation under them, so that's another issue.
Well, I'll do the move to accept, and with the caveats that we've discussed.
Yeah, with further recommendation to council. Can I get a seconder for that then? Robert, would you do that? Thank you. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. Okay. Oh, pardon me, just let me get back to. All right, item 7.4, heritage permit application for 15095 Front Road in Stella, dry stone wall fence. Jennifer.
All right, so this application was submitted for restoration work to be done on a portion of the dry stone wall. It's a portion that faces Front Road, and the restoration work, sorry, will be taking place in September this year during the Dry Stone Wall event. I believe it'll be used as a workshop for Dry Stone Canada, and will be done under the guidance and direction of experts from Dry Stone Canada, as well as with Professor John Scott from Algonquin College at the Heritage Trades. He'll be on site as well to help with that. So if you go through it, it's quite lengthy. It was quite, they do have a bit of a map drawn so you can see where exactly the portion is. Page 11 of the report, or page 163 of the entire agenda. They have a picture there of the property, but then underneath that they have a little map that they've drawn, and it's from sections 1 till 4. So it's not the full straight across, but it is around the gate. Did anyone have any questions? The applicants are on the Zoom call.
No questions for staff or for, okay.
Good luck. and
If
it
the
looks like
applicant,
fun.
if the applicants wish to speak at all? No? No, they're good? Okay, well then I'll go back to the committee then. We do have a recommendation to receive the report and to approve the application. Can I get a motion to that effect? Robert, seconded by Ron. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. Thank you. We have no correspondence. Number 9, announcements or inquiries. Anybody have anything they'd like to announce or mention? No? Seeing none, then I would take a motion for, oh, Barb has one. Barb, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about this, this Zoom hand in me. I just wanted to mention that there have been several break-in attempts at Fairfield House over the last, I would say, a week or 10 days. And it's just a matter of concern that I think the Heritage Committee should be aware of. There also are ongoing issues, especially with these heavy rains. There's about 3 downspouts that don't have any kind of, I don't know what the proper term is at the bottom, sort of the run out, so that water would be dumping directly down at the foundation of the house, and of course entering the limestone cellar, creating very high humidity within the cellar. This is an ongoing problem. Another thing I'm going to mention, just because it's anniversary of probably 2 years or more, is that the west lightning rod cable has been unattached from the ground, and it's been reported numerous times by Fairfield House summer staff and myself, and it just again seems to be these basic protective measures for the house.
These are extremely easy problems to fix. They should get fixed because the impact is enormous on the building.
Well, that's all I can say is that's it exactly, but time seems to have no sense in this picture. Anyway, I'd be glad to send photos to back up my concerns, but the update was that there were 3 break-in attempts at the front of the building over last probably Sunday, Monday, and I'll leave it at that.
Do you know what time of the day it happens?
I don't know the time there were 2 attempts. There was one attempt to dislodge the the protective cover that's over the front door. Staff found that Monday morning a week ago and put that back into proper place. Then that Monday at 5:30 in the afternoon, that was tried again.
Oh.
My understanding from Carrie Lamb is that OPP did come and walk through the house and didn't see anything. I went over the next morning when I read her email and found that someone had actually dislodged the Lexan covering from the side window at the entrance and had pushed it quite out of its lower part of its frame in towards the interior window. That interior side light, by the way, was found to be broken. The glass was broken back on March the 9th when Hillary Fennell and a consultant and I went in to look at something else in the building. So again, there are no answers, but the concern is if anyone did manage to get within the house, the interior of that house is fragile, and no matter what, I'm going to back up and just say we were very lucky that whoever was trying to wiggle a way in did not go into the house.
How frequently does someone actually check the house?
I understand that from Carrie that now there will be staff checking the house, but I can't say whether that's an exterior check only. In the summer, of course, when we have students there 5 days a week, we check the house daily, and we also do try to keep track of humidity levels in the cellar and things like that. But as far as I know, the township have not seen a plan for them to do anything more than what was suggested after these 3 incidents. So just so you know, also Fairfield House is looking forward to resuming tours of the house. Schedule Canada Day, the start of that.
Good, good.
And Barb, open doors, plug that.
Oh gosh, you're right, John. John is and Barb Monk are going to be helping with open doors on June the 18th. Because it's also falling within Loyalist Township's Loyalist Days, we're going to be focusing on the Loyalist start of the township. We'll not be doing tours, but we'll have things set up in the yard for people to think about how simple and basic this township start was back in, let's say, late June, early July, 1784. So mark your calendars.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, John. Any other last minute announcements? Seeing none, I would thank everybody for attending today and ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll do it. Nobody else
Okay.
wants to.
Okay, nobody wants to leave.
No.
Moved by John, seconded by Robert. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. Thank you very much, everybody. And
I want
will
to say
see-
thank you, Jennifer, for slugging it out to get us connected somehow.
Yes, absolutely.
It was nice to connect.
All right, everyone.
Okay,
Have a
thanks.
good afternoon. Stay dry.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.